JJK, man. Actually, that's a good transition, actually, because we're gonna talk about Jujutsu Kaisen 1. It's good. Um, I see. The thing is, I some people, and they're not wrong necessarily, say that it's gonna go down as one of the greats. There's only one way to objectively rank things, because the reality is, when you rank stuff, there's no such thing as really doing it objectively. The only way that you can do it objectively is if you consider only how the mass public reacts to it, right?
Hmm.
The impact that it has, basically. Like Dragon Ball Z, whether you think it's not that great because the story, isn't like super deep or whatever, doesn't matter, because the impact it has on the world and the entirety of anime and manga is too substantial to even try and say that there's any anime that rivals it other than like One Piece or like Sailor Moon or something. um,
Hmm.
and that is the only way to try to objectively rank things. So in that sense, absolutely, JJK is going to go down as one of the greats, because
Right.
somebody who's currently reading the manga and is fully caught up, there's a bunch of hype and dope stuff coming up, especially when it comes to battle shonen specifically, when it's just about the fights. Also, the beginning of season 2 is probably the best the storytelling will ever get, because from there on it just becomes this big tournament arc, and the I'm pretty sure the manga is getting close to wrapping up. So I like JJK. It's gonna go down as one of the greats due to like the impact it has on total populace. But overall, I don't think it's that special or that good to me personally. I like it. I enjoy it. But like,
Hmm.
I'm not going, man, this is one of the greats. This is going to be like top 10 for me. Like, no, maybe top 50, maybe top 30 or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to say it's like up there for me. It's still fun though. But yeah, I say all that to say we're going to talk about the working conditions at MAPPA. And yeah, the working conditions at MAPPA are trash. So people have been uh criticizing the quality of the animation from episode
Right.
14 specifically, and I agree. It wasn't, up to snuff. It's this thing that you see happen every now and again because of usually, I can only assume, the working conditions where it happened. There's a notorious episode of Naruto where Naruto's fighting pain, where the animation looks like this, and people argue whether or not it was a time thing or if it was just the animator's style. If it's his
Hmm.
style, it's a style of animation I don't like, where the animation, for the sake of showing speed and movement, the
Hmm.
animation is super simplified. I'm sure you've seen stuff like it before.
Yeah, like
I
flare frames.
personally am not a fan of that for long periods of time. Like you
Yeah,
said,
of
smear
course not.
frames. When you do it very quickly for a quick second or like 30 seconds or something like that makes sense. It's really cool to show that speed in that moment, and that is the best way to do it efficiently. But to have an entire episode where the animation looks like that, personally, I just don't enjoy the way that looks. Um, that's just me. Clearly, it's not just me, actually, based on how many people criticize it. But there's also a good chance that, and most likely that this is just down to the fact they didn't have enough time to do it properly.
Mm.
And an animator at MAPPA actually tweeted about how disheartened they were by these statements of people not liking it, and as a result, a bunch of animators over in Japan started coming out with stories about the poor working conditions of the industry, and a lot of them were immediately taken down. So
Mm.
there's also rumors of a potential walkout by the production
Hmm.
committee. So maybe it's finally time for that animator strike we were talking about last episode.
No, for real.
And for them to strike for the time and money they deserve, because
Right.
we all love animation and we all wanted to continue thriving. And we'll talk even more about animation in a minute. Um, Naturally, this is the animation segment. Of course, we're going to talk more about animation, but like, yeah, there's a lot of really good animation happening, especially I feel like since the pandemic, just things have really been elevated. We're getting a lot more adult animation specifically that isn't just like um, comedy, and usually animation that they make, the big ones that they put a lot of money into is usually for kids, and that's starting to change. But for that to change, we also need better working conditions for us to keep getting that
Yep.
stuff.